Now I would like to introduce to you a very sharp friend of mine, Eric Dahl, Senior Vice President of Venbrook Insurance. He'll be giving us some tips.
Perfect. Great. Thank you. Well, thank you, everyone. I would like to just address two topics today in regards to workers' compensation and how to basically manage your costs as much as possible. So if you don't mind flipping to the next slide, there's really two ways to help manage your workers' compensation. One, preventing claims from happening themselves, and on the next slide you'll see in a moment, it will be how to manage the claim once it actually occurs. Although hopefully everyone has been enjoying some decreased rates over the last 2 years, California has seen filed rates by carriers go down consistently year over year, 10, 15% or more. Been nice to finally be on that side of it. The last 5, 6, 7, 8 years before that has been going up almost 5 to 10% every single year. It's nice to enjoy that. Hopefully everyone is getting some relief in that regard. It's probably going to be stabilizing over the next 12 months, maybe some additional small discounts here and there, but not nearly as significant as we've seen the last 2 years. So really the question is, how do we impact your overall insurance premiums? So besides getting competitive bids, which might save you a few percentage points here or there, 5 or 10%, how do we make a meaningful impact on driving that down? Well, by doing that, it's really by controlling your claims. Controlling your claims will keep your experience mod from increasing. It will actually hopefully lead to a decrease in your experience mod, and that plays a very significant impact on how your premiums are calculated. So there's a few things on here on the prevention side: creating a safety culture, safety training, policies and procedures, doing job safety analysis, and personal protective equipment. All of these things everyone has heard about, hopefully is doing. But really, for today, there's one thing, if I can leave you with, on the prevention side that makes the single biggest impact on keeping claims from happening in the first place. It comes down to creating a safety culture. You can have the best policies and procedures in place, and I've seen them where they're updated to the latest and greatest compliance with all the rules and regulations. But if you don't have a safety culture in place, those policies and procedures are basically worthless. So creating a safety culture is very simple and also extremely complex. When you're creating a safety culture, there's no one way of doing it that works for everybody. You have to make a decision internally on what kind of culture you would like to create. You can create one that is based on an incentive-based safety culture, where you're encouraging through incentivizations like money or rewards or other things to encourage people to work safely. You can have a stick approach where you are disincentivizing through reprimands, and you can have somewhere that's a blend in between where you don't do either. I won't say that one is better than another. Generally, really, it just depends on the culture you're trying to create. But once you decide the direction that you want to go, you need to kind of build out a foundation on how you want to implement that and do it very consistently. So that's my big takeaway on the prevention side, is really thinking about the safety culture that you want to create within your company, what it looks like and how you can implement it. And please know that when you're implementing a new safety culture, it typically takes 2 to 3 years. It takes time to truly become effective, to see the big results that you can get. But with the proper implementation of the safety culture, you can see a reduction in claims by 50, 80, 90, even 100%. We have clients that go many, many years without having any claims, and it's truly due to the safety culture that they've created. So that's what I would suggest from the prevention side. If you can flip to the next slide. If a claim actually does occur, you need to actively manage that claim. To just set it and forget it and assume that the insurance company is going to manage it properly is not going to be an effective strategy. Most of you have probably experienced that, where there's just not been good claims management, particularly if you're with a company like State Fund. They can be very, very challenging. So there are different aspects of managing claims. You need to triage the injury. The clinics that you work with are very important, and you need to establish relationships. Communication with the adjuster and with the employee is key. Having regular claims reviews to make sure that claims are being actively monitored is super important. And then having support within the work comp system, having an advisor that can help you manage it. It's changing always. You need somebody that can kind of hold your hand and guide you through the process. Again, of these 5 things that are here, if I can leave you with one thing that is free and super easy and has the single biggest impact on your claims, it would be communication. And that's communication with the employee. We have a lot of litigated claims in California, more than any other state virtually. There's been numerous studies done by interviewing employees that have gone through litigation, and after the fact circling back with them and saying, why did you choose to litigate? And accounting for removing fraud out of there, because we see plenty of fraud, taking the fraudulent claims that are not true out, the ones that were legitimate, why did you get an attorney involved? The number one reason is they felt there was no communication and that no one was looking out for them. So they didn't think their employer was there holding their hand, helping them. They didn't feel that the adjuster was there holding their hand, helping them. And so they felt they needed to do something for themselves and get an attorney involved. So if I can leave you with one thing on the claims management, actively talk with the employee that is injured. Make sure that you're calling them before their next appointment. Hey, remember, you have an appointment at 9 o'clock today. Please go. Follow up with them after the appointment and say, how are you doing? What did they say? Is there anything we can do for you? Are you getting the care that you need? Just letting them know that you're acknowledging them and that you care about them goes an awful long way. When claims become litigated, the cost of the claim goes up 2 to 10 times in cost. And so that's the number one way you can minimize those claims from growing and getting out of control. So those are kind of the 2 major things I wanted to leave you guys with on how to try to help implement and improve your overall claims management process from start to finish. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I'm happy to help any way that I can.
Thanks, Eric. That was great. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week.